Today on episode 124 of Typical Chicago Fans, we have Sinkers and Floaters, the TCF Sports Minute, our media recommendations, the NFL playoff predictions, TCF Library, the NFL wildcard round pick show, and a not TCF top 3 of winter stuff. Let's roll. Hello and welcome to episode 124 of Typical Chicago Fans, brought to you by our incredible sponsor, Connect Roasters Coffee. Make sure you check them out. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at typical_Chicago, Facebook and Instagram. Type in Typical Chicago Fans. Give those pages a like. Head over to YouTube. Subscribe to the page there for all of our content in video form. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there. Make sure you check us out and leave us a rating. You can now leave ratings on Spotify, so make sure you give us a 5-star rating on Spotify. It's brand new. You can't leave a review like you can on Apple Podcasts, but make sure you leave 5 stars on Spotify. You can find me on Twitter at BoomyTCF, but make sure to also follow Zach at ZLiliaTCF and Maddie at schools_01. Boys, we're kind of cooling off here in the winter department, but we are technically in the dead of winter. How are you guys holding up? It's getting dark. Still super early. We had the freezing rain last week. How are you guys holding up with all of this going on?
For the getting dark late, we aren't going in the right direction. So it's supposed to be getting darker earlier now, or later, I guess, later in the night. So I'm happy about that. Nothing's worse than getting home at like 4 p.m. and it's already just about dark. Even though you're not going to go outside and do anything, I would still like it to be light out a little bit longer. But it's kind of funny. It was like 40. It was like right around 40 degrees today, probably like 35, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, it's so warm out." And it's funny
I didn't wear a coat
when it gets that cold, like in the zeros, people are like, "Oh, 32 degrees, that's perfect."
Oh, yeah. It was a heat wave, man. I'm telling you, I did not wear a coat outside today because I'm like,
it's funny how quickly
let's go.
Like your body can adapt to that.
Yeah, and of course, like we all know people that live down south and it's probably like 62 and they're still in their winter coats. And we're like, this is beautiful.
Yeah, it was it's always nice to have those random really nice days. Because it's gonna get cold again, but I'll take a 32 all day in the winter around here.
Absolutely. Maddie, how you holding up, man?
Good. At this point, it's just like we got hopefully 8 more weeks of this shit, and then we can start getting beyond the, get through that first part of March, and then we should hopefully be at least in the clear from the ultra cold. That's all. That's where my mind's at. Get the college.
We need baseball to figure this stuff out because when I always know it's about to get warm out is when spring training, pitchers and catchers, all that starts going on.
Sure.
And I don't think we're gonna have it.
No, it's not looking. Not on time. There's no fucking way.
Not looking good. Not looking good. But what is looking good, Maddie? Happy birthday, Zach. Happy belated birthday. It's birthday-ish month around here at TCF. So Zach was the 10th. Maddie's is today, I believe, right?
Yeah, 14th.
Man, we're getting old, fellas. And we've been doing this, Zach. I think this month will be the 4-year anniversary of our first ever TCF show.
It's kind of funny that 2 of the 3 people on this podcast birthday this week in the same week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just about
4 days apart,
but
yeah. Oh, not that much. Age is nothing but a number, Maddie.
Yeah, I feel like maybe in life you're a little bit younger than me because you feel so free, and I'm just always gambling. I mean, guess you're gambling too, but I feel like it takes a lot out of me.
I literally feel the complete opposite of free, so we'll just put it that
way. Shackled down by the horrors of gambling.
It's literally the fucking opposite of free. I appreciate your you thinking about me.
It's like, you get somebody a nice birthday card. I kind of just read it out to you.
You keep gassing me up. That's fine. I'll take it.
You look younger than me. Let's see. Behind that beard, there's a young face.
It's a young face. Is right.
We're actually not recording an episode tonight. We're just going to gaslight Maddie for the next 50 minutes. So strap in, folks.
There we go.
Episode 124.
Everyone needs an ego boost, dude.
The Maddie episode.
Episode 124. How good looking is Matt?
Yeah, let's not get that. Let's not go back to what Internet 2005, where Hot or Not. Remember that shit?
Well, isn't that how
Facebook was?
Facebook started? Yeah, the movie.
Yeah,
what was the movie called?
Social Network.
Yeah.
In that movie, that's how. Yeah, that was like the first thing he ever made.
Yeah. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. We all love a good ranking. I mean,
we do it on the show all the time.
Movies, anything.
Yeah, we have a thing called TCF Top 3.
Great. Rankings are awesome.
Literally, we live on it here. But let's, as always, jump into it. Sinkers and floaters. My sinker is nerds like myself who don't participate in this, but cannabis has been shown to prevent virus that causes COVID-19 from penetrating healthy human cells, according to a lab study published in the Journal of Natural Products. I believe this is out of India.
Let's just say Zach's never had COVID.
Let's just say it this way. Matt, have you caught COVID?
I've never tested positive for COVID, no.
Okay. One person on the show has tested positive for COVID and 2 have not. And we'll just leave it at that. So shout out.
I plead the fifth.
Man, I'm jealous. It is what it is. But yes.
So just say I'm a
big fan
of
fruit snacks.
What did Aaron Rodgers say? He had some kind of immunity to it?
I haven't been vaccinated. I've been immunized.
Immunized, yeah.
By marijuana.
By Gorilla Glue.
And the things he's been doing over the last couple of years, some of that starts to line up, It's like, oh, yeah, now that might make a little sense. But
you know what? If that's what he meant by that, I'm actually on his side.
Might have won you over there. But yeah, they're saying that.
What can't it do? It's just a miracle drug. But.
Seriously. I mean, though, they're saying 2 compounds found in hemp have been shown to identify during a chemical screening effort having the potential to combat coronavirus. Just kind of why, I mean, obviously we're 2 years into, the pandemic and coronavirus and COVID-19, all that. And now it's coming out that, hey, maybe those states that legalized it might be helping some people out.
I got to say something. Boomy totally just stole 2 floaters, really, at the end of the day. Because his sinker's a floater. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah. But from my end, it's,
I do respect the fact that he says I am a nerd for not smoking.
Yeah.
So
he's a nerd for far other reasons than that.
Oh yeah, just add it to the list. I mean, I think we have a running Google Doc on it, to be honest with you.
I'm sure we could find one.
Yeah, I'm sure. And if we don't, it wouldn't take long to.
Just the fact that you said we have a running Google Doc on it, that could make you a nerd too.
Yeah. What about it?
There we go. Add that to the list.
I've ever heard.
My sinker is ice. Fellas, I have a little bit of a driveway that it goes down a little bit quicker than I wish it would. And so I get to the end of it, and there was ice that I could not see. It was nighttime. Oh, my gosh. There's nothing more dangerous than just a small patch of ice.
Yeah, I mean, as a guy who's fallen on ice many times, there's nowhere for me to disagree with you.
I'll take snow all day.
Yeah, 100%.
Black ice is frightening. Is about the only way to put it. Like you don't see it. It's like a criminal that sneaks up on you in the alley. You don't expect it. You don't see it. You don't know it's there, and boom, you're on your ass in seconds.
I have also totaled a car because of black ice underneath some snow that I wasn't even going that fast, and 4-wheel drive, and didn't matter because I hit a down slope in the road and black ice underneath the snow. Next thing I know, my truck is wrapped around a tree. So completely on your side, Zach. It absolutely sucks.
Yeah, I fell down. It did not feel good.
Was there any? Did you get the Ring doorbell set up? Do we have any footage of this?
No, not yet. Hopefully, that'll be kept to myself.
Oh man, that's no fun. I still got footage of me jumping like 3 feet onto a rock. That was pretty hilarious. You gotta share that stuff with the world.
I've never seen that before.
I'll show it to you. It's on. I saved it. I thought I broke my foot. Maddie, what's your sinker?
Boys, this might shock you being as old as I am, but my sinker today is Logan Paul. And Logan Paul recently spent $3.5 million. It's not really on him. It's on getting defrauded out of $3.5 million.
I saw this.
On first edition Pokemon cards, which I don't know what a fucking I couldn't begin to fucking tell you anything about a Pokemon card of any kind. But apparently these things are going wild right now again. They went nuts when I was like probably in high school. I think the younger kids started kind of popping off with those when I was in high school, and clearly they're making another big resurgence. But he got hit with the old $20 bill wrapped around a stack of ones kind of trick. It was not Pokemon cards inside these sealed cases that were previously authenticated before he paid $3.5 million for them, but inside of it, it was GI Joe cards wrapped around with a Pokemon fake couple packs of cards on top of them. And I don't care who you are, $3.5 million is it's insane dough for fraudulent collector's items. And I don't know shit about Pokemon. I do know GI Joe kicked ass, so if it was me, I'd end up being the idiot of the garage sale, flipping the fucking Pokemon cards, keeping the GI Joe ones for to selling those for pennies on a dollar, not knowing what the fuck I'm doing. So, that's where your ignorance is sometimes not bliss. But rough situation for Logan Paul. I don't not a fan. Yes or no?
He'll be all right. He'll be all right.
$3.5 million. He'll be fine.
There's got to be some insurance in that, right?
He tweeted out the video that he made when he took the case to get authenticated by this dealership in Chicago.
Yeah, it's in Chicago.
The beginning of the video too was really funny because he's like, it was an ad for his drink, his sports drink or hydrating drink or whatever the fuck it is, like a body armor type thing.
It's called Prime, I think.
Yeah, so I think you're right. And he's like, please buy this. I need to try to make my money back somehow. This goes directly to me, so please buy. I can give him credit for trying to, dig out of that little hole.
Man, that's tough.
$3.5 million, dude. Think about that. You buy $3.5 million worth of anything and it gets thrown in your face that was just, dog shit. That's a hit. That's a big hit.
Yeah. That's a big loss. My floater, on the other hand, is the Markancic brothers, I believe is how it's pronounced. That is because Anthony and Nick Markancic were both soccer players at Northern Illinois University, and they were actually selected in the MLS Super Draft Wednesday, and they were picked 4 picks apart. Anthony was selected in the first round, 26th overall pick by the Colorado Rapids. And then his twin brother Nick was drafted in the second round, 30th overall by FC Cincinnati. So pretty cool. I know that I've tweeted about it a couple times. The soccer team made a run to the second round of the NCAA tournament, and then they have 2 guys get drafted. But not only is it 2 guys get drafted, two from Bradley Bourbonnais High School, just south of Chicago. So big week for the Markancic family out of Northern Illinois for the soccer team there. So pretty cool stuff going on.
You gotta love
That's
that.
awesome. They're very cool.
Do they air the MLS draft?
Yeah, so it was actually super casted on social media, and I believe it was on one of the ESPNs. And they had both the brothers and their whole family and a bunch of the soccer players up in the suite up at the Convocation Center. And like I said, one being a late first round, the other one a very early second round. One's a defender, one's a forward. And they had the whole team there, just like you see in any other sports draft. Obviously not the same size, but it was a really cool scene. Good for Northern Illinois athletics, good for the Markancic family. But it was one of those, even if you see it from another school, it doesn't really matter. When you have twin brothers getting taken 4 picks apart, that's pretty special.
Yeah, it's sick.
Stuff you love to see. My floater, garage door openers. This time of year,
yes.
You're in a garage. That's the greatest thing of all time. You get close to the door, you don't have to get out, hit the keypad or whatever. Sometimes I forget mine, like if with work, I have to switch trucks sometimes, and if I forget it, I almost drive back to work just to get it,
It'll
even though that
fucking
would
ruin your day. That's for
even
sure.
though that's stupid because all I gotta
It,
do is get out and hit the keypad. But you're just like,
if your
no
work is
way.
less than 15 minutes away from your house, it's fucking worth it.
Oh, it's the best. You leave
You
the
got
house, you don't have to get out. You don't have to get out of the truck. Oh, it's
Public service announcement, though. Make sure when you close those doors, your car is all the way shut off, because way too many carbon monoxide things going on in that car coming out. I'm weird about that. Like, there was someone from
Louis,
my
what are you
hometown that
talking about?
if you leave your car on and
Well,
you
I
close the
understand that,
garage
but I
door,
don't use
you
the
can
garage
die
door
from
opener
carbon
when
monoxide
I
poisoning.
understand that, but I don't use the garage door opener when I'm in the garage. I use the little button by the door when I get out, and I don't leave my car on.
I'm not saying that you do.
That was
I'm
a
just saying
wild
as a
statement.
public, not just a public service announcement here. That's all. Trying to help people not carbon
guess,
monoxide poison themselves.
I understand I understand your point. The point's a good point. Don't do that. But who is leaving their car on, pressing the garage door opener, closing the garage door, and just like, oh, I can't even hear that my vehicle's still on.
Hey,
What are you
people
talking
got
about?
electric cars now. They don't make noise. You don't. Oh, that wouldn't
Well,
make sense
Boomy.
because then they don't have the emissions. Damn
Yeah,
it, that one doesn't work.
Yeah, good
They have
one.
much quieter cars. And trust,
That
it happens more
electricity
than
that
you think.
he's shooting out into the garage.
Yeah, exactly. Carbon monoxide out of the battery. That one didn't work. It's been a long week, all right?
What a wild statement, Boomy.
Hey, just trying to help the people out, all right?
Good for you.
All right,
Maddie, you got a floater for us?
Yeah, mine's free ad time, and I'm sure it's something that everybody else has been bombarded with ads on Instagram. But for Christmas, I got a solo stove, and as a gift, and it was a fantastic gift that I was really wanted. It is a smokeless fire pit. You guys ever seen those things?
Yeah.
Dude, it works. It gives off a fucking ridiculous amount of heat, and literally you cannot smell it. Like, you don't go inside. You can sit outside by a fire for 12 hours and go lay in your bed and not smell like fucking smoke afterwards. It is a beautiful thing. It's worth the money. If you don't want to spend the money that they are, I didn't have to spend the money. I got a gift. It was an awesome gift. So shout out my mother-in-law, sweet ass gift that one of the best I've ever gotten. But anyway, if you can get one, go get one. I'm telling you these things. If you're a bonfire guy, if you're a sit outside guy, winter, summer, spring, whatever, these things are fucking phenomenal. So
And it provides heat and everything?
Oh, yeah, it gives a ridiculous amount of heat off. And I actually got an email because they create all kinds of new accessories and stuff too. And they're actually they're selling a new accessory starting Friday, the 14th, and it is a heat distributor essentially. So it's this little thing that they make that goes on top of it, sits up about, it was like probably 16 inches. It was large enough so you can leave it on there and still keep adding logs to the fire without taking it off. But it basically just forces the heat to just spread out as opposed to going up. And so it's a way to kind of increase it around you as well. So they're really a forward-thinking company, obviously. Great product. So I know, free ad, but whatever, man. That thing fucking rocks.
As a bonfire guy, do you miss the crackling of the wood and the smoke at all?
I don't miss the smoke one bit because the flames are ridiculous. It flames like crazy. It doesn't it'll flame as long as there's a block of wood in there. So because it's got these holes in the bottom and it keeps sucking air. Like, it forces the smoke downward, but then pulls air upward to keep fanning the flame too. So it just, I don't know, dude. I will send you some pictures. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah, I'm gonna need, because that sounds awesome. I've never even heard of something like this.
It's expensive. It is ridiculously nice though, and there's some other companies that have made similar products. I don't know how they are. I'm sure they're probably fine. I'm sure it's not like science that other people couldn't figure out. But the thing is phenomenal. That's all I can say.
I'm gonna have to check this out. I didn't even know this was a thing. Well, let's go ahead and jump into the TCF Sports Minute. We got to start off with the Bears. The season is over. Matt Nagy, Ryan Pace, showing the door. Where do the Bears go?
What does it matter when you have George McCaskey going, oh, yeah, when Matt Nagy came to me in the beginning of the season talking about Justin Fields being the quarterback, it made me feel uncomfortable. Who says that? What does
I
that
don't know
even
what
mean?
he means by that.
What do you mean? So why would any coach want to come to the Bears when they know that somebody they have to work for, report
Answer
to,
to. Yeah.
answer to is that guy? Come on, give me a break.
Yeah,
So
it's
that
not-
tells me one
And then they
thing.
even
And you
had
guys,
they had the thought of getting a coach before a GM. What are you talking about?
yeah, it's a it's turning into a very difficult franchise to really have a
right?
lot of faith in. You can see it
Yeah.
starts at the top, and it's become enough to just suck the
And
life
even
out of you.
the comments about Olin Kreutz, it's like, what are you guys doing? Are you trying to have the fans not like you?
Right.
It definitely has that kind of connotation. But like,
It
here's my
does.
question for you guys. Like, when he says that, I was uncomfortable with it, it basically proves that he's wrong in both senses. In the fact that, like, if he's uncomfortable with him because the offensive line wasn't ready, or then maybe you saying that you thought you had a winning team, and you going out and getting Andy Dalton early, and made the moves that you did and thought you could compete. You were wrong in that sense, and then you weren't comfortable enough with the coach. Like, you're wrong in that aspect too. Like, it's just a very confusing comment, and it makes George McCaskey look like an idiot on both ends.
No, he is. He proved to be one.
Yeah. And I wouldn't say maybe he's not like an idiot per se and whatever, but he's not a football guy. And he
Yeah, he
doesn't
doesn't know
know
how to run a football
football.
team.
He doesn't know how to
Does
run a
not know how to
football
run a
team.
football team. So get
The
people who
reason
can run a
he's
football
running a
team.
football team is because his grandfather or whatever started the Bears.
Yeah. Yep.
Or his
Yeah, that's
dad, or
exactly.
I don't know how that works.
No, it's his
It was his
grandpa, I believe.
grandpa.
You know what I
George
mean?
Halas.
There's one reason why he's running the Bears, and that's why.
Right.
Well, and
Right.
his brother fucked up already too, Mike.
Well,
before
yeah.
him. So
But he's just not a
So
he's not a football guy, and he's comments like that. I was uncomfortable talking about our rookie quarterback playing is insane.
it really
yeah, it
is.
just
And for
proves
him
the
to say that out loud
incompetency all
too.
over.
Yeah. Yeah, to readily admit that. Wow.
And there's one thing for that to actually happen, and there's another for you to go on a Zoom press conference and say that out loud.
It's really
Yeah.
it's to be perfectly it's very fucking depressing. That's all I can say.
Oh, very depressing.
So looking at the future, though, obviously you need to hire a GM, you need to hire a coach. They have a laundry list of candidates for both jobs. It seems like they've scheduled an interview with just about every single person possible. Do you guys have any candidates that jump out at you or for either position?
Brian Flores.
I like that.
Love it. I don't know why the Dolphins
that-
got rid of him.
That's exactly the name I was gonna say for a sec, to be perfectly honest.
And also Jim Harbaugh. Not saying he's going to leave Michigan by any means, but I think he would be a good coach for the Bears.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to
that's
give him a
funny.
call.
Your first one is the one I would have said first, and your second one is the one I would have said last. Because I would want nothing to do with Harbaugh. I just don't. I don't know why. I know a lot of people do. I don't think
I
anybody's crazy
want
for
somebody
thinking it.
that is willing to just manage the team. They don't have to take over the offense. They don't have to take over the defense. They just want to manage the team. And I'm not even just saying just Jim Harbaugh. Somebody like that is what we need. But I'm not saying that we have to hire Harbaugh. It's like a Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin is perfect. He manages the team. He's a player's coach, and he doesn't get too much into the offense, too much into the defense. We always have coaches that think, "Oh, I'm going to save this offense. I'm going to save the defense." It's like, no, that's why you hire other coaches. Why did the Bears ever get rid of Vic Fangio? That I never get that.
Well, he took a head coaching job. I don't think that was the Bears.
I'm pretty sure they got rid of him, didn't they?
No, he took the head job at Denver.
Oh, okay. I thought the Bears got rid of him.
Yeah. That would have been.
Here's the name I want to throw out to you guys.
Yes, they did. He left. He did get fired in San Fran, I believe, because it was front office situation too. Plus, because
here's the name I want to
I think
toss
it was
out.
partially because he didn't get offered an interview when Harbaugh left.
Yep. Byron Leftwich.
Don't hate it.
I wouldn't hate it either. I really have to say,
I need somebody that
what
can
does
develop.
it matter?
I need somebody that can develop Fields. That's all it comes down to.
But if
and I think in that sense that Leftwich would be a good choice. I mean, a guy who's played the position obviously at a high level for a long time, and obviously someone who's doing well as an offensive coordinator. I mean, he won a Super Bowl last year, and granted, he had Tom Brady. But,
I was gonna say,
but still, I mean,
all right, then we got Bill Polian on the job. What?
Yeah, that irks me. That irks me. This guy's been around the game like in that capacity for a decade. Like,
did I see that Doug Peterson's name was mentioned?
Who did he draft that was so?
On the list.
Who did Bill Polian draft? Did he draft Peyton Manning?
No,
he drafted Manning, but he developed built the Buffalo Bills in the '90s. That team that went to 4 straight Super Bowls. He was the architect of that team too.
Really, truthfully, Boomy, with the coaching stuff, what does it matter who the coach is if the front office is going to stay the same?
Yeah, and I think they mentioned
the people hiring them have hired 7 coaches.
Yeah, I think the statement about not going
Ted
through
Phillips
Ted Phillips is I think there's an issue there, but I do worry, and I'll say this as a Packers fan. There's a guy they're interviewing who is, I believe, the head of scouting or college scouting for the Patriots, and I don't know his first name, but his dad was the former GM Ron Wolf of the Packers, and they did not offer him the job when Ron Wolf left, and they gave it to Gutekunst or whatever his name is. So I do worry about that. In one of those situations, he's obviously doing pretty well out in New England. I saw that they were scheduled for an interview with him. But like you said, Zach, at the end of the day, you've got to bring in, I think you have to, bring in a GM who's obviously answering to George McCaskey and not
Riddick.
Ted Phillips. Yeah, I mean, you got to bring in a strong GM to start. And I think if you go with maybe the experience, like you've talked about, a guy who's been around the block, I think that might be better in that sense.
I'm just so over it. I'm so over it.
There is hope. At least there's a new day, a new leaf being turned.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's happened so many other times. We're like, oh, we'll just get a new coach that'll make everything better. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it's got to be an organizational thing, as you see. And but let's change gears. The Bulls got absolutely smoked by the Nets.
A weird time.
Night.
The game was at a weird time. 9:00 start in Chicago. That can't happen.
Yeah, that's the whole ESPN aspect of the NBA. You got your 2 best teams. You're gonna push that game back to 9:00. Tough stretch coming up. They got Golden State tonight. You're gonna see what this team's really made of. Obviously, they're still in first place. They're right there, but last night or Wednesday night was a little concerning. Just to be in the game. I think they were down 4 at half, and then
that third quarter was bad.
And it almost just, I know it's being nitpicky and it's hard to complain about a first place team, but you against good teams like that, it's great when, you beat the brakes off of the Indiana Pacers or, whatever the case is. But like when you can't stop the bleeding, and don't get me wrong, Brooklyn's very good. And I text Zach, the most obvious thing last night is that Kevin Durant is just so good, but you have to find a way to stop that bleeding at some point. And it just never stopped last night. It started right away in the third quarter. And there was just, it was a gaping gunshot wound that you just could not get to stop bleeding. And when you get in the playoffs, you're not going to see, the Nets, till hopefully down the road. But I mean, you're going to get team's best shot every night, and you got to be able to put an end to it and, get yourself back on track.
Especially with the Warriors, they played Thursday night against the Bucks in a game that was never close.
No,
I think they were down 30-40 at halftime.
Yeah, absolutely smoked. It's going to be
so the Bulls need to take advantage of this in Chicago. A Golden State team who beat them very badly in Golden State. You're in Chicago. They're off a back-to-back. You had a day off. You got to get this win.
Yeah. You got to, and I'm not even going to go as far as say, like, yes, it'd be great to win, but you've got to be competitive in this game. If you come out and get the doors
I would
blown
love for
off
this
again,
to be a
then
close game.
right. I mean, like, keep it close. If you lose late, you lose late. But, like, don't come out and get absolutely railroaded like you did against the Nets. I mean,
Let's have a good
was
third
tough.
quarter.
Yeah. You got to play a full game. Maddie, any thoughts on the Bulls?
Yeah, I think you just got to bank on, the Golden State game, I think, is a really important game because I think the way they, I want to see them bounce back after such a rough third quarter against the Nets. So I think it'll be interesting to see how they kind of react to their first ass kicking of the year. So I think getting that every now and then is a good thing.
JJ Redick saying that the Bulls are 5th in the East. What was that all about?
Fuck that guy. He's an idiot.
He took a lot of he tweeted this morning. He tweeted something about Bulls fans, and obviously we weren't very happy about it. So just a bad take there. Moving to the other side of the United Center, the Blackhawks pick up a win Thursday night. The guy I saw in Rockford, Lucas Reichel, gets called up. I'm not sure how long. It's probably going to be a shortened thing. I mean, he's still only in his, I guess you can't even say it's his second full season in the minors, but
hey, might as well get him some experience in the NHL. These games, yeah, you want to win every game, but if you want to get him some experience, this is the time right now.
Yeah, give him a couple weeks, let him realize what the show is like, and then let him go back down. I don't want this to impede his development. He's a hell of a player, and you don't want to rush it. But
yeah, I'm not really sure how that all
time.
works out, like in the NHL. Like if they want you to play in the AHL for a certain amount of time before you come up, but it's like I said, it's good for him to play with Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews. That's gotta be fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and they get the win in overtime.
He's ready from what everybody says. Like, he's ready to be in the NHL. I think his game is there. He's it's going to be some lumps just like any other good young player. But what do they have to lose at this point? Start getting this kid some experience. Start letting them see the bright lights and the big stage, and because they got to start injecting this franchise with something. So it's a good place to start with Reichel, and I think it's a good win tonight in overtime. Like Zach, you were watching it, I know, and it's just such a rough spot to be in. It's very, very similar to the Bulls or excuse me, the Bears right now.
Yeah, Matt, with the trading deadline, coming up here in the future, do you see any of the Blackhawks making any big name trade? I keep hearing Marc-Andre Fleury's just as good as gone. Anything else there? Any other pieces you think?
Yeah, I mean, as long as he's willing to go, I'm sure if he's willing to be dealt, then to go get a ring somewhere or try to chase a ring, that would be a guy you could probably poach, second rounder, if not maybe a late first or something. Calvin DeHaan, I think, is a guy that might be dealt. Could be. I think he'd bring back some potential, some good draft slot and things like that. McCabe, maybe, if they could get something back for him. I don't know. I think there's really not much that they're going to do. I mean, ultimately, I think at the end of the day, they've just got to start hitting on some draft picks. I think off season I think the one guy potentially in the off season that could be dealt that might shock people is Kirby Dach. I think they may try to take a look at moving him. He's a good player. He's just not what you want when you pick that high in the draft. You take him second, especially when there's a fucking Bowen Byram right there behind him who's looking to be like fucking just an absolute stud. We'll just put it that way.
See, and it does worry me though when you talk about dealing a kid like that. Like, look how many first round picks the Blackhawks have gotten rid of and went on to play pretty well somewhere else. I'm just not, and like he looks the way he does, but also
look what they just gave up or got back for Nylander, who they dealt a young developing defenseman in Henry Jokiharju to Buffalo, and it's just like those kind of fucking moves you just can't have. Those will kill a franchise when you give up a good young defenseman for a fucking just a bust, a complete bust, and everyone knew he was a bust, and everyone called that a bad trade at the time. No one supported that trade at all. No one was behind that trade. You know, those are the kind of things, man. I know we're not running NHL teams, we're not running front offices. Not everybody's a complete utter fucking moron and just can't see, you know, things either. So I don't know what, you know, some of these NHL GMs and stuff and pro sports GMs, I think they sometimes try to like do too much, and it's like trying to get too cute with shit, you know?
And I feel like I'm probably just jaded because of some of the bad moves that the Blackhawks have made with some of those young guys. And it's like, oh, maybe I don't want to give up on them yet because the front office, and I know it's going to be a different front office, but at the same time, they've made some deals, and you're just like, why do we give up on this guy so early? And I worry that if they, not knowing what the return would be, if it's, you know, obviously something that works for the future, but I mean, you'd hate to see him get rid of him, and then he goes out and, you know, is contributing to playoff teams and playing the kind of hockey that we thought that he could be in a Hawks uniform. That scares me a little bit. I'll be very honest.
No, I agree.
It's just we're so
it's gonna
jaded
be
the last couple
an
years.
interesting rest of the season.
Yeah,
sure is.
We'll see what happens. Not much to talk about on the Cubs and Sox ends, but we got to bring up Cubs great. John Lester has called it a career. Poor guy had to play in St. Louis for a half a year and decided he's had enough. He didn't want to go back there. So hats off, John Lester. I mean, an incredible career. One of the best free agent signings in Cubs history.
One of the best playoff pitchers of all time.
Yeah, just an absolute
bar none.
bulldog.
What he started the most game ones of a series, I believe, right? See that right on Twitter?
I believe started
People
the most
always
game
talk
ones.
about people always talk about pitchers and this and that regular season, and then you go to their somebody's postseason. It's like, oh yeah, they struggled. He did not struggle. He loved to play in the big
it was almost
moment.
the opposite.
Yeah,
ice water in those veins, man.
Yep, could go to him at any time. So shout out to John Lester. Moving into retirement. On the college basketball end, real quick, there are no longer any undefeated Division I teams in the country. There was Baylor and USC at the beginning of the week. Auburn and USC. But I'm telling you, right now, if I had to pick, my opinion is the best team in the country. Not sure if you guys got any thoughts on that. Auburn is just kind of clicking right now.
Yeah, you literally cut out right when you said blank is the best team in the country is what I heard.
Auburn. I think Auburn's the best team in the country.
No, fuck that. I can't stand Walker Kessler. Get that fucking guy out of here.
You just know that if he was playing in North Carolina, he'd be doing what he's doing. He's playing really well.
Yeah, fuck him and fuck his dad too. His dad's the problem.
Yeah. And trust me, I don't like Auburn. I'm not the biggest Bruce Pearl fan, but they're clicking right now.
Let's not kid ourselves. You want to start talking about?
No, he's been under suspension everywhere he's gone.
Literally back to the 80s, he was crooking it up in the NCAA. Get that guy out of here.
And I'm not even sure. It happens. What are we mad at one guy?
Continually happens all the time, everywhere he goes.
Walks like a duck, quacks like a duck. Zach, it's probably
if you're an Illinois, if anyone's an Illinois fan out there, and I'm not, if you're an Illinois fan, you should absolutely have zero appreciation for Bruce Pearl. That's all I'm going to say. Go research Gerard G if you want the Bruce Pearl in Illinois situation.
Speaking of Illinois,
basketball,
Jared G. I think it was Jared G.
It's like watching basketball. I cheer for people who win.
Oh, you Coach K
in college basketball. I'm just saying, if you were saying I was an Illinois fan, I'm not an Illinois fan.
No,
yeah, I'm not either.
Fair enough.
I'm not either. But speaking of Illinois, they are ranked 25, playing really well. Kofi is in the top 5 in the country in scoring right now. So, still, I believe they're still missing Carbello.
He was not playing the other night.
Yeah, they have him down as a neck injury, but there's some rumors going around about some stuff down there. I'm not going to get into it, but it is a little strange. We haven't seen Corbello in about a month plus, actually probably a little bit more than that. But college basketball is starting to heat up. Obviously, a ton of games getting postponed and canceled. But guys, we're like less than 10 weeks away from Selection Sunday, so that feels pretty good.
It's just weird because I mean, there's not like one great team and so many games getting canceled and stuff. It's hard to like get teams on a roll.
Yeah, it's hard to get a vibe on everybody.
But
It's
still
strange.
cannot wait for March Madness. The greatest time of the year.
Best time of the year. Best time of the year. Before we move on, we got to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Connect Roasters. Best coffee around that you can find. They work with our guy
New
Ian
Morale
Happ,
Blend.
Dom Frederick.
New Morale Blend.
New Morale Blend, of course, with Dom. So you know it's good. They love it. Zach loves it. You cannot go wrong. They wouldn't promote bad coffee. You know that. So make sure you check out their website, connectroasters.com. Follow them on Twitter at Connect Roasters. You can find their products in Foxtrot Market and Dom's and a lot more other places coming here in the future. So make sure that you check out connectroasters.com for the best coffee around that you will find. Boys, let's jump into it. We've got our media recommendations this week, and we had some chatter in the group text. Maddie, do you want to start us off with your media recommendations this week?
Yeah, and it's just one I actually watched a while ago, and I forgot about it, that how much I actually liked it. And I was going through HBO Max and saw it pop up in like the list of documentaries to watch. So I started sharing it with some friends that I forgot that I knew I wanted to spread it to. But it's called Class Action Park, and it was actually the subject of
fantastic
a documentary that was talked about on the Dog Walk from Eddie a couple months ago. That's what I listened to that podcast, so I went and watched it right after, and I cannot suggest that documentary enough. I don't want to give away too much, but it's mainly about this old amusement park that was really big. I think it started in the late 70s and kind of took off. It was kind of a place with no rules, anything goes. Kids from like New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey area, they were all
yeah, because it was in Jersey, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was in Jersey, but it was near where that Philly, New York, and New Jersey corridor kind of is. So it's kind of drawing people, from the city and everything. So there was a bunch of rich kids with no worries and no fear and getting into all kinds of shit at this amusement park. Dangerous rides that you would just kind of envision and think of in your head, like in one of those video games that you just kind of like whip shit together. It's all basically what it was, sending people to the hospital. People were getting maimed, injured all the time. It was nuts. Very, very entertaining.
I'm pretty sure they had one there. My favorite one that I remember from that, Matt, is the one they talk about. They had a enclosed water slide, and it was like
the
a big
loop-de-loop.
loop-de-loop.
And people
and they would test it
and just drop. They would drop.
Yeah, and they would test it, and they would send kids down it for like, what was it, like $10?
Yeah.
And they had to like go in and take it apart because kids' teeth were getting embedded in the plastic when they got to that loop, and then they fell and hit the plastic on the inside.
This is a Pat Beals documentary. Let's not kid ourselves, right?
Yes.
This is directly to him. He should go watch this one. I gotta like it.
Great recommendation there, Maddie. Zach, I know you got one for us. What do you got this week?
It's a recommendation / I need to figure out what's going on here. So they say like the top, like 5 of the top 6 or 7 golfers in the world have signed this thing with Netflix to do like, is it like a docu-series or something? I'm kind of confused by the whole thing. If you're listening, help me figure this out, because I think it's something with, it's supposed to be big for the sport. I'm guessing it's like they're going to go around maybe and watch them do like tournaments and stuff, but it seems like it's something very cool between pro golfers and Netflix.
So I'm curious, and I haven't even heard of this, Zach, but I wonder if they're going to do it like the Formula One show they have.
Yes, that's exactly
what
it is. I think it's the same production company that's doing it, I believe.
That's awesome. That's going to be very interesting. It helps golf a lot.
You get a lot of the 4K cameras. You get the interviews. You get those kind of behind the scenes shit. They can do really neat stuff. Like you're going to be able to see like, swing planes are going to be dissected. There's going to be all kinds of crazy shit. I bet.
And I think it'll be cool if we get like the behind the scenes stuff, like the travel between tournaments and all that good stuff. I always good, the more golf, the better. So
let's
not
kid ourselves. Rivalries too.
Absolutely.
They could go all kinds of directions with it.
Absolutely. Great choice, Zach. I got to check that one out. My media recommendation this week, and it's something I might have given out. I can't remember, but the documentary about the Starved Rock murders, it's on HBO. We were talking about it in the group chat, obviously. Anyone from our area that knows the Starved Rock murders occurred in 1960 at Starved Rock State Park by Utica. And there was an HBO documentary on it, a 3-part series. It is called just Murders at Starved Rock. And it's done by the guy whose dad was the prosecuting attorney for the state. And it goes very deep, and it's cool. Like, a lot of it is filmed in the town I work in. So like kind of getting the aerial shots and places, anyone in our area has been to, a million times. Like, there was one, they were like showing a sunset, and it's literally the house like 3 miles from my house. And obviously we live like 20 miles from Starved Rock, but using the whole Illinois Valley area. And obviously the story is insanely captivating. So if you have HBO Max, I can't recommend that enough. And shout out to Zach. I finally started watching Peaky Blinders. I got through the first season. The first season. I'm telling you, and I took your guys' advice. I went subtitles, and it made a world of difference.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot go wrong. So those are mine.
Peaky Blinders.
Just started the second season, so
I watched the Starved Rock murders too. I want to go back to that real quick, Boomy, that you brought up. I thought that one was excellent as well. I got to ask you guys, both growing up in that area, and I grew up a little bit, 40 minutes away from there. So I never heard the story growing up.
Me either.
I never knew anything about it until this documentary. So that's why I was curious if you guys heard about it at all. Like when it was one of the local folklore kind of things.
So the thing, I probably didn't hear about it till I got into high school. And the reason that I heard about it was because the guy who wrote the book, Starved Rock Murders, his name is Steve Stout. And if you watch the documentary, it's the guy with the big white beard, and he all these things on it. It's like his calling card. He was actually a substitute at my high school, and I had him as a teacher many times. Not the biggest fan in the world, but it is what it is. But he kind of introduced us to that, and obviously I could go on. I could go on for a while, but so that was kind of how we got introduced to it. And I believe it was one of the projects in one of my English classes revolved around that book, the Starved Rock Murders. And then obviously as you get older, and like I wasn't, I hadn't been to Starved Rock till I was probably like 25. It was always just too busy and packed. But then you dig in, and obviously me being a big history guy, you dive into it. And I think there's like a YouTube series on it too. And it's kind of one of those, like you said, Matt, like a local folklore thing now. And I think obviously the documentary has a lot to do with it, but it is a big story, and probably known about it for over half my life now. Zach, you said you've never heard of it?
Maddie, I'm kind of oblivious to things, and I just, unless I really sit down and think about it, probably not going to know about it, especially back when I was younger. So, yeah, Boomy, he likes to just read about history and stuff because, he's a nerd. So,
big nerd.
Definitely. I'm surprised he liked Class Action Park, to be perfectly honest. I would have thought he would have thought that was beneath him.
Oh, please. That was fantastic. That was one of my favorite documentaries of 2021. At the end of the day, I am still an idiot.
Boomy, I do have to give it to you. Some of that stuff, like old, like World War stuff, like back in like it's in color now. That's pretty cool.
Those are excellent. World War II in color is fantastic.
Babe Ruth hitting a home run with like with the whole stadium, like.
It's if you really want to get on it, Band of Brothers is one of the greatest series of all time. So.
Oh yeah,
that is a fantastic show. Fantastic. So as we know, the NFL playoffs start this weekend. Super Bowl just around the corner. So let's dive into our playoff predictions. Let's go ahead and start off with the AFC title game. Zach, who do you have in the AFC title game?
You got Bills, Chiefs. That would just be the perfect game. And then I have. Do you want me to say the winner?
Yep. Go ahead. Tell me who you got winning it.
Bills. Bills in the Super Bowl. I would love it. Bills Mafia. Right. Let's go.
I respect that. Maddie, who do you have in the AFC?
I'm going Chiefs Titans. I think going chalk. I think they're the two best teams in the AFC. I think it's a matchup that everybody wants to see happen. I think Derrick Henry sounds like he'll be back, ready to roll for the playoffs, and so the Derrick Henry versus Mahomes battle should be pretty wild.
I'm not too far off from you guys, but I'm going a little wacky here. I've got the Bills and the Bengals. I just think that the Bengals are kind of hitting right now, coming off a big win against Kansas City. I like the Bengals here, but I think the Bills are probably going to win that game. I think the magic runs out. So I got the Bills in the Super Bowl as well. Let's move to the NFC. Who do you guys have in the NFC Championship game?
I got Tom Brady and the Bucks versus the Rams, with the Bucks going to the Super Bowl again. Tom Brady, he just knows what he's doing.
Maddie, who you got?
I'm going with an upset, and I don't. It's really only because I think they're the only team that can actually match up with Green Bay in the NFC, just the way Green Bay's built. Is San Francisco. I think San Francisco's going to upset Green Bay in the second round, and I think that's going to put them in the NFC title game. And I think they're going to face the Bucks as well.
I'm keeping it in my family household. I've got the Packers and the Rams, and the Packers finally get over the hump, the NFC Championship game hump, and I've got the Packers beating the Rams, obviously. So moving to our Super Bowls, I've got the Packers and the Bills. I think this is the year they finally get through that hump. And I think the Packers are good enough to win the Super Bowl this year.
I'll take the Bucks Bills, like I said, and then I'm going to take the Bills. Bills Super Bowl champs.
Getting out of the curse of 4 losses in a row.
I would love it.
I'm going San Fran. I'm going Tennessee. I think it's the year of the running game, and I think the running attack.
Derrick Henry will be back.
Both those attacks and the way that both those teams play, they have good defenses. They've got, I think they're both well coached, and I think they both have questionable quarterbacks, which is usually a bad way to go in the playoffs. But I think their running games are so elite from both sides, and I think Deebo Samuel, I think is playing at a level that we haven't seen one player, like just one singular skill player, just be able to do some of those things that he's doing right now in the running game, the receiving game, everything that guy brings to that team right now. He's a home run threat every time he touches the ball. And I think guys like that get on a run in the playoffs. So I'm just going to go with him. I'm going to ride the hot hand of Deebo getting the ball and Kyle Shanahan and Mike Vrabel.
All right. Well, we'll have to check back in a couple weeks and see how our picks did. But before we move into the pick show, we've got a new segment, and this is in honor of me finally finishing a book that I've been reading since I was 18. For those of you who don't know, I'm 31 right now. I've been reading Dennis Rodman's autobiography since I graduated high school in 2009, and I just finished it Wednesday of 2022.
That's crazy.
It's 255 pages. It's not the longest book in the world.
I've read some others a day.
Well, it boils down to 17 pages a year, Matt. So not super proud of that. But so what happened was in college, I was a history major and we had to read a ton. So that I hardly touched it once I got into like the upper level classes, and then slowly, and then I put it down for a long time. And if we're in the trust tree here, I've read about 85 pages in the last 3 days. So I was only on like page 170 as of a week ago. But I finally finished it. So I'm very, very proud of myself. That was one of my New Year's resolutions was to finish it. And Maddie is so mad at my reading skills that he has now left the Zoom call. There he is. He's back. Maddie was just so disgusted with my reading skills, he had to leave. So
I don't know how I got booted. I don't know what happened. Just disappeared.
No, it's okay. I've come to the conclusion. I am who I am. All right. I'm going to try.
I've read one book. I've read one book in my pretty much life that like had to do with school, and it was the LeBron James book.
Which one?
It was the one that came out like when I was in high school.
Was it the More Than a Game book?
Yeah, it's one where he's like when he was playing in high school. It was that's on the cover. Yeah,
I think it's the book that's based off that documentary, More Than a Game or whatever.
That's all I've ever read. I don't like reading books.
Did you, Zach?
Did I what?
That's one of my I've read not as many as I'd like to admit. So I'll give someone. Do you have any others? That's the only one you got for the list?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of reading. I don't read.
So similar to you though, Zach, one of my favorite books, that I didn't read for like school or, writing papers or anything was actually about LeBron. And it was written by a reporter from Cleveland back in his first stint there after he left from Miami. It's called The Whore of Akron. And at that time, I very much hated LeBron. So I enjoyed that book a lot. And then also, for those of you guys that remember, 30 for 30 had this story on, oh my God, how am I drawing his name? The guy that played at Boston College and then played for the Celtics while he had a horrible drug addiction. Chris Herron. So he has a book. His autobiography is called Basketball Junkie. And if you haven't read that, it's not
30
that
for
long
30
already.
was really good too.
Yes.
Very good.
So I read his autobiography, Basketball Junkie. It was phenomenal. Very good. Very similar to the 30 for 30. And then also all kind of started was a writer was doing, because he was like the number one player in the country, was doing a yearly piece on his high school team. And it's called Fall River Dream. So I then went back and read that book. And if you remember that 30 for 30, that's how I got interested, obviously, in the book. But if you watch that and you liked it and you read, I can't recommend both of those books. Can't recommend those enough. So that's about it for my reading corner. Matt, do you have any suggestions?
I have one. Going back to 8th grade, the greatest book ever is The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. The Greasers versus the Socials, a classic battle, gangs. The rich versus the poor, the East versus the West, this side of the tracks versus that side of the tracks. Tale as old as time. We got death. We got guys on the lam. We got female interests. We've got all kinds of storylines going, and great names: Soda Pop, Pony Boy, Dally Dairy, all kinds of great names for these guys in this book. So Cherry Valance, shout out her. Good. Also came with a good movie as well. But yeah, that was my favorite book growing up. So that's the one I'm sticking with. Might be the last one I read, to be perfectly honest.
That I'm telling you, it's one of my New Year's. I'm going to read a book this year.
Boomy,
all right,
stop
give myself 12 months.
Yeah,
I will.
It.
You're just egging me, and I'm going to do it just to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, you got me. You read a book. Oh, you really made me feel
Actually,
bad.
I've already bought.
You know what I did? I watched
Jordan
sports.
Rules.
You know what I did? I watched sports, and you're going to read a book.
Yeah, I'm going to read the Jordan Rules, the Sam Smith book.
Well, that would actually be a good book. But you know what? They make audio versions of them now.
Yeah, I feel like that's cheating, though.
How?
I don't know if you get the same, like, out of it mentally hearing the audio book as you do.
So you know what?
actually
Next time you have
reading
to read your podcast.
No, that's two completely different things.
Yes. Fair. No.
That's an idiotic thing to say.
You would.
Books are
you
meant
would
to
get
be
the
read.
You would get more information.
Podcasts are meant to be heard.
So maybe books are meant to be heard.
They're not, though. They're meant to be read. That's the point of reading.
They're not.
I will not disagree or will not agree with you on this. I just
we'll
feel like it's cheating.
We'll fight forever.
Boomies likes the smell of the binding.
Yeah, come from the guy who read 17 pages a year.
I got to get some ink under my fingers, all right?
You're probably anti-Kindle, too.
Imagine how quickly you could have listened to that book.
I told you, I downloaded the book. It's
coming from a guy who sits there, watches all the movies on his phone, listens to podcasts. You don't think if you would you could have knocked that book out in a day if you just listened to it? Maybe make a good point, would actually technically read more books if you just listen to them, because you don't have time to read.
But that's not reading a book. That's listening to someone read a book.
Okay, then to listen to a book. Same
You're
thing.
Still digesting the same.
I'm going to do some research. There's definitely some difference in like cognitive, like what
you know what? You are a teacher though, and the teachers always go, "Well, if you read the stuff, then you're going to retain it quicker."
Subtitles too.
Yeah, it'll be in your brain longer. No, maybe if I listen to it too.
Ridiculous.
I just take it in. I think it's different. I'm telling you. I'm going to do some research. I'll present it on the next podcast.
Listen to it as opposed to reading it. It's very different.
Very different.
Easier.
Confirmed different.
Yeah. Two different senses.
Yeah.
Well, if you have any good book recommendations, send them my way because I'm going to turn into a reading whiz over here.
My way. Get them away from me.
I'm going to turn into the reader in this group. So I say that with a lot of tongue in cheek. There's one book this year. I think that's good enough goals.
Way to set your goals real high.
Hey, one book in 13 years to one book in 1 year. All right.
Imagine how many books you could listen to.
You're an idiot.
A sentence a day. I mean,
yeah. I just imagine you turn on like
Pause.
audio or Audible or whatever, and you just play it for like 60 seconds, and then you're like done.
Cold January Eve's day.
You wake up, listen to it while you're like brushing your teeth and stuff, then pause it. Oh, that was good.
I'll check in here tomorrow.
I read my book for the day.
Gotta have goals, man. Well, we have reached the end of the regular season in the TCF NFL Pick Show. I finished the regular season in first place at 62, 46 and 2. Zach in second at 58 and 52, and Matt right behind us at 56 and 54. But that could all change with the playoffs starting this weekend. Pigoy, who joined us in week 9, finished at 31 and 29. We are taking every game this week. We have 6 games, so let's go ahead and jump into it. I know I took Cincinnati to make the AFC championship, but I think the Raiders are going to keep it close. For some reason, they have been flying high. I don't think they're going to win the game. I will take Las Vegas plus 5.5 in the afternoon game on Saturday. I do think Cincinnati wins it, but it's probably by a field goal. And then I will also take the Buffalo Bills minus 3.5. It does worry me a little bit, Belichick in the playoffs, but I think this Buffalo team is just better. And when it comes down to it, that they just have more talent, and I think that they're going to have enough to win this game by more than a field goal. Matt, who do you got?
Let's see. Saturday, and I like, if this line were to go down, I like Cincy. I like Cincy to win the game. I like Vegas to cover the 5.5 right now. So I'm going to stick with Vegas there. Yeah, man, I'm going Buffalo.
All righty. Zach,
I'm going to go against you guys. I'm going to go Bengals with the points. And then I'm going to stay. I think the Bills are just better than the Patriots at home.
I think the
I
Bills
like that
are
a lot.
Primed for that game.
Like Zach, you mentioned that Belichick it does. I don't know if it worries you at all. It does worry me a little bit, but like you said, they're just a better team, and I think that they're kind of feeling it, getting hot as of late, and you gotta take care of business when it comes to the playoffs. So Buffalo minus 3.5. Moving on to Sunday's games. I think the Eagles are in way over their heads. You're going up against Tom Brady. Give me the Buccaneers minus 8. And then I will also take, we got 3 games on Sunday. So I will take San Francisco plus 3. I like that money line. I think that, like Matt said earlier, they're clicking at the right time. And that running game is no joke. So I will take San Francisco plus 3. And then in the nightcap, we got the Steelers and the Chiefs.
I actually got you 3.5 there right now, too.
I'll take 3.5. And then I will take Pittsburgh plus 13 because I truly think this is going to be Big Ben's last game, and that's just a lot of points. I think Pittsburgh's going to keep it close. It's going to be a low-scoring game. And I just think that they're not going to get beat by 2 touchdowns is really what it is here.
I think there's 2 really, really, really just stinky lines in this Sunday set. I'm actually with Boomy on all 3 of these. I'm going. Actually, no. Excuse me. The first one, I'm not. You took Tampa, correct?
Correct.
I'm taking the dog. I like Philly in that one. I think 9.5 is a number that they are just absolutely begging you to take Tampa on. I think it's one of those things too. And you're looking at Action Network. 61% of the bets right now are coming in on Tampa, but 77% of the money is on Philly, which means all the heavy hitters are unloading on Philly right now. And I think that number.
What'd you get at 9.5? You said?
Yeah, I got it 9.5 right now.
Okay.
Where did you have 9?
I have it at Tampa Bay minus 8 on the Score app.
9.5 actually at DraftKings.
I've seen
Okay.
8.5, so I think it's all over the place right now.
Yeah, so it might be one of those to kind of shop around a little bit too. It's 9.5
Yep.
right now.
Probably a lot of money on that game.
Definitely. The 3:30 game on Sunday, obviously I have the Niners going to the Super Bowl, so I'm going to take them there. And on Sunday night, I think it's one of those. I just think it's one of those games for KC that they're going to win. They're just not going to look great doing it. And I think Pittsburgh's going to try to muck the game up, get it a little dirty, get it a little grimy. Keep it
Well,
close.
if you guys
that
remember
way.
when Kansas City won the Super Bowl, didn't the first 2 weeks of the playoffs they started off down big points?
That was insane.
They should have lost to Tennessee at home. Remember?
Yeah,
And that's why
Let's
I
just
like
say
Tennessee
I
this
was
year at home themselves.
I was on the right side of history there. Live bet them both times.
Saying that was Kansas City beating Tennessee was one of our show pot bets.
Yes, it was.
Yes, Boomy said no, and Zach and I overruled him. And who was fucking right again? Not the nerd.
Yeah. Oh, you win 1 in 4 years.
Hey, we'll take it though. I'm gonna take the Bucks. Jay, did you say 9.5?
Yeah.
I put it down since I see it at 8.
I'll take
put
him
it down
9.5, whatever. I like him in any number. I think it's gonna be a 2-touchdown game. I think the Eagles are way in over their head with this one.
It is minus 120, but still 9.5 is the posted line.
And then I'm gonna take the 49ers with Maddie. Like you said, taking to the Super Bowl +3. I'm not a fan of Dallas. I think that they are going to win this game outright too.
Zach picked the hook as well. You got 3.5.
Yeah, you get 3.5. That's what
3.5.
I got it at.
And then Steelers, I love that because I'm not saying there's no way they're gonna win this game, but Big Ben is gonna make it at least a touchdown game. The last possession, some stupid touchdown at the end of the game. It's gonna be closer than what'd you guys say it was?
13.
That's a lot of points in a playoff game.
Against
a team who loves to run the ball.
Yeah. Yep. Grimy, dirty, rusty, grimy game.
Yep. I got a feeling on that one as well. Moving to the first ever Monday night playoff game.
Which I
got
love.
The Rams.
I absolutely love this.
Couldn't agree more. I love it. Rams hosting the Cardinals. I'm taking the Rams -4. Just way more talent, I think. And I just think that Arizona's kind of limped their way into these playoffs. And,
Rams.
Now, and you got to think,
Rams are going to win
Stafford's never won a playoff game. Now is
in Los Angeles.
You
like the Cardinals, don't you?
I'm taking the better quarterback, and that's fucking Kyler Murray. Matt Stafford is a fucking problem. And let's not kid ourselves, boys. I said that when they fucking traded for him. I've been saying that for fucking all season. He looks good in stretches. He's a nicer Jay Cutler. Let's not kid ourselves. At the end of the day, he's a likable Jay Cutler. He makes the same mistakes. He throws the same picks. He's got a fucking rifle arm. He just can't get it done in the playoffs, just like Cutler couldn't. And I love Jay. Still my fucking favorite Bear, probably of the last 15 years. But I don't like Stafford, and I don't think this is a good spot for him. And I think Kyler Murray is one of those guys that just is going to just find a way to make plays in the big spot.
I think that's going to be a great game and be in the first Monday night game.
Definitely. Should be a wild game. I probably hammer the over in that one.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that as well. The over's at 49. That seems kind of low for those.
I'm going to do that right now before that fucking skyrockets up.
Well, while Maddie gets that in, Pigoy, on the other hand, has Vegas, New England, Philly, Dallas, Kansas City, and Arizona. So those are our picks.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Almost exactly the opposite of what most of us pick.
Everything, but what are you going to do?
Exactly. What are you going to do? So those are our picks for Wild Card Weekend as the NFL playoffs get started. So let's wrap things up like we always do. We have a TCF top 3, but this week is a not top 3. We talk all the time about the weather, so we got to focus it on winter stuff going on. Obviously, we talked earlier about how nice it's been the last couple days, but what are our least favorite things about winter? Zach, go ahead and get us started with your first pick.
Sledding. Hate it. Not a fan. People think it's fun to go down the hill. Yeah, whatever. It's cold. It's hard ground. What are we talking about here? Everyone, oh, let's go to the big hill. Let's go sledding. Nope.
The sledding part is fun. The walking back up the hill, terrible.
Or the falling off the sled on the way down.
Yeah, if you're on a sheet of ice, it's a problem,
Yeah, that's true. The one time I've gone sledding one time in my life that I enjoyed it in college, and some buddies found a garbage can lid and found this giant hill behind the school I was at and went down it. But then we didn't realize when we got to the bottom, like you said, Matt, that it was covered in ice and we could not get back up the hill and had to like form a human chain to get to the top. And that was like a 2-hour endeavor. So I'm with you, Zach. Matt, what is your first round pick for the not top 3 of winter things?
We already brought it up. Black ice. It's a deadly bitch.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
I'm with you there.
It's a silent killer.
Yeah, it's dangerous to walk on, drive on.
Drive on, look at, see, smell, feel it, touch it, hear it. Black ice is dangerous.
Yep. I'm going to go. My first round pick is scraping car windows because I am not an early riser. I don't start my car before I leave. So I have to scrape my windows just about every morning, and it is the worst. And it doesn't ever feel like you could do a good enough job. I hate scraping my car windows, and it's just a chore every morning. I start off my morning with a chore, and it's scraping my car windows, and I absolutely hate it. I'm also going to go then with my second pick, and that is – I'm going to go with like the dirty, nasty snow pile. Like right now, if you guys go outside, like most snow piles are like gray and they're just gross.
Dirt
and you
all
don't
over.
know what's in them. Yeah, the dirt and the filthiness. So I'm going to go with dirty snow piles because it's not even cool to look like. A nice, like you get a nice fresh snow. It doesn't look
when it
bad
gets all
out.
slushy and shit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go along the same lines, and it's fucking salt everywhere. There's just salt on fucking cars, windows.
I knew that was gonna get
your
back.
Shoes, like it's fucking salt stains on fucking everything, dude. It sucks.
I have to order a new pair of like all black tennis shoes every spring because I ruin one every year. It does. It's like clockwork.
Like the days I have to go into the office, I have to wear dress pants, and as soon as you get into like you touch the car, and all of a sudden your like leg looks like you had a meltdown of some kind.
Yeah, it's the worst.
I'm gonna go with a snowball fight. Oh my gosh, snowball! You get your hands freezing cold, then you get hit with snow. Not a fan of that. And then skiing and snowboarding.
Ooh, I disagree. Love skiing.
Oh no! How many times have you been? Once.
Once. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
I love it so much. I went once.
Well, it's not really I'm not driving 3 hours to go do it up in Wisconsin.
If you loved it so much, though, you would have done it again.
Winter's
Guess what? You did it because it stinks.
I did it because it was free.
You're all bundled up. You go to the bar. You get all this clothes on. Then you go outside. You do a little snowboarding / skiing, whatever you do. I don't like it. No fun. Being cold.
To each their own. Maddie, what do you got?
I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go. One thing I've never seen the appeal, and I guess the only way I would see it, I'm gonna frame this a little bit. It's ice fishing when you don't have a tricked out shanty. If you're just sitting there, basically.
Either way, though, that can't be fun.
If I don't have I mean, there's some that are like legit, like it's like they've got TVs, satellite, it's like
that seems dangerous.
That's what I'm saying. Like, give me that side of it where I can just chill and it's just like basically like you're drinking in a garage. I'm fine with that. If it's one of those things where it's like just cold, fucking miserable, and you're just in this rickety fucking shack that there's like 3x3 room. No, I'm out on that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not that big into fishing as it is.
The ice fishing, man. I'm not a fisherman at all. Not a bit. Not one bit.
Yeah, that does not sound enjoyable. I'm going to go with something probably oddly specific here, but that's taking trash out this time of year because I have to put it like in the grass off of my driveway, and you can never find a level spot, and you're like kicking, frozen chunks to try and find a level area for you to put it at. And it's windy and you just never know. And then you got to go back and get it. And it's just trying to find that level spot took me about 5 minutes the other night, and probably almost fell down about 3 or 4 times doing it. And then you worry about the wind, whipping the top open. Last year was when we had those really bad windstorms. And then you get trash all over. But also obviously more, related to today, is the fog that comes when the weather changes, because I tried to drive home from a place that should take me like 40 minutes. It took me about an hour and 5 minutes just because I couldn't see more than like 5 yards in front of my car. So that's one of my honorable mentions. You guys got any other
not being able to golf?
That's a good one. No one's going to disagree with you there. Maddie?
I mean, driving pretty much fucking sucks in the winter.
Well, yeah.
Hit ourselves. I mean, that was one off the top of my head. Yeah, I mean, having to shovel like that heart attack snow sucks. It's awesome with a snowblower, but shoveling isn't fucking enjoyable.
And it's one thing if you're shoveling, or
I shouldn't say it's not enjoyable. Like, it can be. Like, if you're sitting out, like, I don't know, you can make it enjoyable, I guess, but I don't know, when it's like that bitter ass cold and it's just like pounding your face. And I think you feel differently about it like the first couple times of the winter, because I think, I probably mentioned that I like shoveling at times on the show, but now it's like you're into middle of January and it's like, no, I'm over it.
Yeah. Kind of burns out on its, it's almost like, to me, sometimes like mowing. Like, you love the first couple mows of the year, and then after it's like a weekly chore, and then you're like, okay, now I'm kind of over this. And
yeah, those days in fucking July when it's 130.
Yeah, no, for sure. But hopefully the winter stays like this. Hopefully the worst is behind us, knock on wood. But we're going to see here soon. So thank you for joining us. That was episode 124 of Typical Chicago Fans. Thank you to our sponsor, Connect Roasters Coffee. Make sure you check them out. Get you some morale blend. ConnectRoasters.com.
Nice looking label.
Great products, great merch, great label, great artwork. It's a great company all around. ConnectRoasters.com, at Connect Roasters on Twitter. Make sure you check them out. Make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Give those pages a like. Head over to YouTube to subscribe to the page on there for all of our content in video form. Wherever you get your podcasts, we are there. Spotify, Spreaker, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. It does not matter. Make sure you check us out on those, and tell a friend to tell a friend. Make sure you follow Zach at Lilia TCF and Maddie at schools_01. You can find me on Twitter at Boomy TCF as well. We thank you all for joining us for episode 124 of Typical Chicago Fans. We love you all.
Peace.